Welcome to the AI for Technical Writers podcast. This is episode 88, a bonus episode this week.
And I'm Daphne, your guide to connecting the dots in the ever-evolving world of AI.
And I'm Fred, your explorer of surprising facts and the complex stories behind them. So, today's deep dive was actually suggested by our show's producer, senior technical writer Kurt Robbins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's a really fascinating one. It cuts right to the heart of, where AI is headed. Our source material is a recent video interview. It's titled Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, AI's Potential, OpenAI Rivalry, GenAI Business, Doomerism.
Ah, yes. Alex Kantrovitz. Good interview.
That's the one.
Yep.
Uploaded July 30, 2025.
Right. And Dario Amodei, as CEO of Anthropic, he's definitely one of the most significant voices, really influential in the AI space today.
For sure.
So for all of you listening, technical writers, doc specialists, IT pros, understanding his perspective, well, it's not just interesting, it's actually pretty crucial.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, because he's actively shaping the future of the tech we interact with, like every single day. Think about the potential impact on jobs, the tools we'll be using.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today really is to pull out the most important nuggets from this conversation, not just what AI capabilities are coming, but also, the business side of things and those vital discussions around safety, control.
The big questions.
Exactly. The big questions. We want to help you grasp the how and why behind these AI trends that are going to directly impact your work and your understanding of this whole field as it just keeps accelerating.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
Because Amodei starts the interview addressing something that, it clearly gets under his skin, being called a doomer.
Yeah, he really pushes back on that.
He does. He says quite emphatically he gets very angry when people call me a doomer. And for him, it's not just about words, It goes deeper. It's rooted in this really personal experience.
The story about his father.
Exactly. He shares that story. Yeah. His father died from an illness that, tragically, was cured just a few years later.
Wow.
Yeah. And he explains how that loss gave him this unique and incredibly urgent understanding of AI's massive potential benefits. Saving lives, speeding up science, solving huge problems.
So he sees the upsides so clearly.
Precisely. He's pushing for progress because he's seen the cost of not having solutions. And he's just as frustrated by the criticism he gets, like from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, who accused him of wanting to control the entire industry just by advocating for safety.
Which Amodei calls
an outrageous lie. His words. He denies it completely.
Yeah, and what's really compelling here, Fred, is how that personal drive, it isn't just like background color, it's the engine for his core argument about the exponential growth of AI.
Right. He keeps coming back to that word exponential.
He does. He's not talking about steady step-by-step improvements. He's seeing AI systems just rapidly increasing in power, like at an astonishing compounding rate.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. He paints this picture, right? A few years back, models were barely coherent. Then, maybe 2 years ago, they hit smart high school student level. And now, he's suggesting they're getting close to smart college student or PhD levels.
That's incredibly fast.
It is. And the big takeaway for us, as technical professionals, is that this exponential improvement applies across the economy. He actually warns that this rapid scaling means national security, economic issues, they were becoming quite near.
Sooner than people think.
That seems to be his view. It fuels his shorter timeline perspective compared to maybe other big lab leaders.
Yeah.
And that's why he feels this urgency, this need to talk about both sides, the amazing benefits and the serious risks.
So when Amodei talks about this exponential growth, like models doubling in capability every few months, my mind just jumps straight to the practical side. For our audience, right? If you're working with tech, managing systems, writing docs, how do you even begin to document a system that's evolving that fast?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. And for IT folks, how do you manage infrastructure when the AI core is changing so quickly? Are we talking totally new ways of doing things for documentation, for system management? How does this exponential actually impact your day-to-day?
Well, yeah, Fred, it basically shifts everything. Amodei's point suggests we're moving way beyond, static user manuals or fixed system setups.
Okay.
For technical writers, it could mean totally new approaches. Maybe AI-assisted documentation that updates itself, or frameworks for documenting how an AI learns, not just what it does right now.
Like documenting the process, not just the snapshot.
Exactly. Or maybe defining parameters for AI-generated content, focusing more on validating dynamic outputs. And for IT pros, it's about building super adaptive systems, flexible integration pipelines, monitoring that can keep up with AI that's constantly reinventing itself.
It's a fundamental rethink.
It really is. It's moving from creating static things to being curators, enablers of these dynamic AI-driven processes. And just to clarify, Amodei pushes back on terms like AGI or superintelligence. He calls them meaningless marketing terms that just activate people's dopamine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he prefers to focus on what you can actually see and measure, the exponential improvements driven by more compute, more data, and new training methods like pre-training and reinforcement learning, or RL.
Right, the trial and error learning.
Basically, yeah, like teaching an AI with rewards.
So, okay, if that's the why behind his urgency on capabilities, let's pivot to the how. How Anthropic is turning this into a business. Because their growth numbers, they're just mind-boggling.
Aren't they just?
Amodei shared the figures. $0 to $100 million revenue in 2023. Then boom, $100 million to $1 billion in 2024. And now, first half of 2025, already over $4 billion, maybe $4.5 billion.
It's incredible.
He even says this 10x a year growth makes Anthropic the fastest growing software company in history at the scale that it's at. I mean, it's almost hard to believe.
It truly is unprecedented. And if you look at the bigger picture, Fred, Anthropic's strategy, their big bet, it's squarely on business use cases of AI, mostly through their API.
Right, not like a consumer chatbot.
Exactly. There's a really deliberate contrast to OpenAI with ChatGPT or Google integrating AI into all their existing stuff. Amodei firmly believes the enterprise use of AI is going to be greater even than the consumer use of AI.
Interesting. Does he give an example?
He does, a really good one. Imagine improving a biochemistry model from, say, undergrad to PhD level. Okay, maybe 1% of consumers care.
Right. Niche.
Very niche. But for a company like Pfizer, he says this is going to be the biggest deal in the world. It could create 10 times, maybe 100 times more value.
Ah, I see. Targeted impact.
Precisely. And they also deliberately focused on coding early on, not just because there's demand, but it's got this brilliant recursive benefit, right? Models get better at coding.
Which helps them build the next models.
You got it. Smarter models build smarter models.
Now, speaking of their business, there was some noise about their pricing for Claude Code in the Max tier. A bit confusing. Some users were reporting getting like $6,000 worth of API use for a $200 subscription.
Yeah, that raised some eyebrows.
Sounds like a great deal, maybe too great.
Well, Amodei clarified that. He said it was basically due to them not fully understanding the implications of user behavior when they first launched those tiers.
Ah, okay. Learning curve.
Pretty much. And he said adjustments have been made, especially for the bigger models like Opus. He made sure to say Anthropic is not, in fact, losing money because of those early quirks.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And he gave this interesting, sort of stylized explanation for why they might look unprofitable on paper sometimes, even if the models themselves are profitable.
How so?
It's the massive ongoing cost of training the next model. They're pouring revenue straight back into R&D for the future generation of AI, not just banking profits from the current ones.
Investing heavily in the future, then.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here for technical writers, for IT folks, is what this suggests. AI tools aren't just going to be casual chatbots. They'll be deeply embedded in business operations via APIs.
So, more integration, less standalone stuff.
Think about AI automating compliance docs, drafting API guides, maybe even creating dynamic troubleshooting flows based on real-time data. It really shifts our role from just manual creation towards strategic curation and validation of what the AI generates. Big productivity boost potential.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. There's this perceived issue, a glaring liability, someone called it, with large language models. The lack of continual learning. You know, the idea that models are stuck with the abilities you get out of the box. Once trained, they don't learn new stuff on their own. What's Amodei's take? Is that a deal breaker?
He pushes back on that pretty hard, actually. He argues that even without solving continual learning in the way some people imagine it, LLMs are still incredibly impressive and transformative.
So not useless even if they don't keep learning.
Right. He gives this almost wild example. Like, even if you had 10 million Nobel Prize-winning biologists who couldn't learn anything new, that's still incredibly powerful, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
More practically, he points out that context windows how much info a model can handle at once are getting huge, like potentially 100 million words.
Which is a lot.
It's massive,
Yeah.
like a human's lifetime of hearing, data-wise. So models can effectively absorb tons of new info during an interaction, even if their core programming isn't updating constantly.
Ah, so they learn in context.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And he also mentions ongoing research into learning and memory for models, talking about inner loops and outer loops, basically sophisticated ways they might learn over time. He seems pretty confident that this fundamental obstacle, as some see it, will eventually fall to scale plus a slightly different way of thinking, much like how reasoning improved.
Interesting. It wasn't a hard wall, just needed the right approach.
That seems to be his view. He mentions reasoning turned out just to be RL reinforcement learning at scale.
Okay, Daphne, this next point just blows my mind. The competition, the sheer intensity of it. Talent, resources. You see Meta, XAI, throwing unbelievable amounts of money around trying to poach top researchers.
Yeah, the talent war is fierce.
So for Anthropic, with its strong mission, but maybe not, multi-trillion-dollar pockets like some others, how do they even compete? How do they keep the best minds against these giants? What's their strategy?
That's a really critical question, Fred, and Amodei's answer, I think, says a lot about Anthropic's culture. He basically says their strategy relies on mission alignment, not just trying to match insane offers.
So it's about belief in the project.
Pretty much. They have compensation principles of fairness, apparently, and they refuse to negotiate individual levels. His view is that trying to buy something that cannot be bought, like real commitment to the mission, can actually destroy the culture.
Wow, taking a stand.
Yeah, he says he's pretty bearish on the long-term results of competitors just trying to outspend everyone on talent. Now, this brings up an important question for you, the listener. How should you evaluate AI tools if maybe open source isn't the main thing? What really matters for bringing these tools into your workflow?
Right. What are the key metrics?
Well, Amodei actually sees open source as a bit of a red herring in AI. His argument is, unlike normal software, you can't see inside the model. It's open weights, at best.
So the label doesn't tell the whole story.
Exactly. For him, the only question that matters is it a good model? Is it better than us at the things we do? Because you still need significant cloud computing and specialized hosting to run these things, even if the weights are open. It's not really free.
So performance and reliability over the label.
That seems to be his point. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shifts how you might think about adopting OpenAI. Maybe focus more on performance, support, how well it actually works for your needs rather than just the openness itself.
Let's go back to Amodei himself. He talks about his singular obsession with having impact. There are even anecdotes about him avoiding stuff like Game of Thrones because it wasn't tied to impact. That sounds intense.
It does sound intense, Fred. And he explains that drive, that quest to have that impact. It really comes back to that personal story, his desire to prevent other people from being in similar situations to his father.
It all connects back.
It seems to. He said his decision to leave OpenAI and start Anthropic wasn't just a business move. It stemmed from a deep belief that the way those companies were run was not really oriented towards trying to have that impact. Specifically, getting that crucial balance right between advancing capabilities and ensuring safety.
Trust and sincerity, he mentioned.
Exactly. He thinks leadership sincerity is paramount here, and he's incredibly clear about his commitment to control and safety. He states pretty boldly that Anthropic has, more than anyone else in the industry, warned about the dangers. And he really champions this idea of a race to the top in AI safety, not a race to the bottom where maybe companies cut corners.
How do they do that? Like, practically?
Well, he gives concrete examples. Anthropic was apparently the first to publish responsible scaling policies. They openly release interpretability research, trying to understand how AI thinks. They pioneered constitutional AI to align models with values, and they share dangerous capability evils to assess risks.
So, leading by example.
Now, that seems to be the goal, to set an example for the field, hoping others will follow.
Okay, but given this intense focus on impact, this desire for AI to deliver benefits quickly to solve big problems, is there a risk that this drive itself could push acceleration too hard, maybe unintentionally make control harder to achieve? How do you balance wanting the good stuff fast with managing the very real risks, especially when there are so many forces pulling in different directions? It feels like a really tough balancing act.
It's a huge tension, Fred, a really crucial point. And Amodei offers a pretty nuanced take here. He sees controlling AI as a multi-step game, like progress is made with each new model they build.
Iterative improvement on safety.
Right. And he says he speaks up louder, takes more drastic actions. When he feels the ability to handle the risks isn't keeping up with how fast the tech is moving, He really pushes back hard against the idea that it's impossible. He calls the doomers, who say there's no way to build this safely, well, he calls them intellectually and morally unserious.
Strong words.
Very.
Yeah.
But he uses the exact same phrase, intellectually and morally unserious, for those who just want to accelerate AI as fast as possible with dollar signs in all of their eyes, resisting any kind of regulation.
So he's critical of both extremes.
Exactly. He's emphatic that there's no evidence control is impossible, and he insists real progress is being made. His core message really boils down to meeting more thoughtfulness, more honesty, and a very serious understanding of both the risks and the benefits. The stakes are just too high. He's basically inviting everyone to engage with this complexity, not just pick a side.
So considering Amodei's very personal drive,
Mhm.
his vision for exponential AI, and these incredibly high stakes, what's your role in all this? As a technical writer, as an IT professional listening right now, how can you foster that more thoughtful, more honest dialogue about the AI tools you're building, implementing, documenting within your own organization? What steps, even small ones, can you take to help ensure the benefits are realized safely and that your work actually helps guide AI towards that positive impact? Thank you for listening to the AI for Technical Writers podcast, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share on your social media.